Oh, we forgot to put the lighting.
Oh dear. I might have to get up and put it.
Yeah, I'll get up. You two say hello to everybody.
Okay. Hello everybody. I'm actually gonna log in, see if we're definitely live. Oh my god, we already have a few people on. Let's see what is going on. How are you? Happy Monday. Are you all ready for the Jubilee celebrations?
Yes, and if you are ready for the Jubilee celebrations, let us know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And if you don't know about it, where have you been?
I know. It's the platinum, what you call it?
The Platinum Jubilee.
Jubilee, yes.
Have I moved it?
Just a tad bit, but you'll be back. ACD is here. I say, hey honey, how are you doing?
Hey ACD.
We are good. Oh, that's so much
too
better.
much. Can you turn it the other way? Oh.
Is it?
Ooh.
I swear to God.
Hi,
exactly
we've got
what you're
14
getting.
people on. Hey Lauren, we are just getting ready to talk about this thing that we do as women. I'm going to be reading the comments from over here. And hey from you. Let us know where you're coming from. Hey from
Hey everybody,
US.
how are
Hey,
you? How
Kat.
are you? It's the three musketeers, the three swan queens.
Yes.
Out here to swim in your pond.
I know.
How are you doing? Today we're talking about, what are we talking about? How much can you change for your man? How much should you change for your man?
What's acceptable?
So what's acceptable change? And then we're going to read a question.
Really, isn't it?
Yes.
The whole idea of you changing.
Yes.
Should you even bother changing, or can we just be authentic and just be ourselves? Is that even authentic? Is that even authenticity?
Well, that's a good
Staying
question.
it's a
So we were
bizarre.
having this, and it started off with us talking about Kim Kardashian and her current body changes.
Yes.
And really thinking about, you know, as women, how much is a legitimate change, how much is authentic change, and how much is necessary. So yeah, we wanted to have that conversation.
Yeah.
And then we were looking at a question from one of our
Yes, from
subbies.
Swan City. If you're not in Swan City, that's our Facebook group.
That's a free book.
All the links are, all the Swan City links, all the links are now on the videos if you have a look, but we'll put it under here. So it's, hello guys, I have a question. The man I'm dating refuses to be engaged, yet wants an exclusive relationship. He says he is not ready for marriage, but refuses to be engaged until he is. We're assuming until he's ready to be married. Any advice? I am willing to wait if we are engaged. So we are assuming that she's willing to get engaged and wait 20 years to be married. An exaggeration, but it's like she's willing to change that, because I guess for most of us, personally, I want to be exclusive for 1 year. And then within that 1 year of exclusivity, marriage has to pop up, whether it's at the end, at the beginning of that. After a year of being exclusive, I want to know, can I even, because for me, it's no longer a question, can I marry him? Or does he want to marry me? It's like, do I want to marry him? Then if I decide yes and an engagement comes up, I am not going to wait for more than a year. So she's saying here, she's willing to change those beliefs. And in my mind, like, am I ready to do something like that in that time, to then wait for 10 years or is in 5 years to actually get married?
And the thing about that is, because we don't know how old this lady is, if, let's say, for instance, she may be in her late 30s, and if she's going to wait 10 years, by the time the engagement happens, they then get married, it could be another 2, maybe 3 years. Her childbearing time is getting less and less and less. So when we say that we're going to wait, do we think about these things, or are we just saying that because it's the right thing to say, so I will wait for him?
When I hear this, I think that this is a woman who she's got issues, because here's the thing. If a man is saying he's not ready for marriage and you're a black swan, you should know that he's not ready for marriage with you. Now, we don't have the full picture, but assuming they're in their teens or in their early 20s and they're still building, that's understandable. He might not be ready financially to marry. But if he's saying, look, maybe he's in his 30s, I'm not ready to get married. We don't know how long they've been dating, do we?
No.
So we have no details on how long they've been dating. So let's go with a sort of scenario where you're late 20s, 30s, you've been dating for 2 years. That's too long for me, but let's say 2 years is generous. and a guy is still saying he's not ready for marriage, baby girl, he's not trying to marry you.
Yeah.
Now, for you to be kind of doing, I will change my whole setup of what I want to accommodate you if you put a ring on my finger, that is not a negotiation. That is a bit of self-abandoning to me.
Yeah, it is.
And that is that slippery line, because we're saying earlier about when is the line. I was saying to the coaches, when is for you an acceptable change and one where it's not acceptable anymore. And I think at this point she needs to be investing her time in a man who is relationship marriage ready.
Exactly.
And if this guy's not ready, then let him go get ready while she finds somebody who wants to marry her. Obviously easier said than done, because if they've been investing a lot of time and emotion in this relationship, it's going to be a little bit hard for her to move on. But that's the sort of the solution, because this idea that, you know, what I'm going to do is just take the breadcrumbs. He's not even offering engagement. That's the thing. So now she's negotiating for engagement.
She's negotiating, which again brings us back to the Kim Kardashian thing, where we were saying that she's gone and removed the extras that she had, because it's almost like, look, we don't know her story. We cannot say for a definite fact, but it's more like it's what we women do. We morph to what the men want. So what this woman is doing now is saying, okay, fine, even if we don't get married, can I at least get engaged? Which is morphing to what this man, if she's adamant that I want to get married, she shouldn't take that off the table, right? So it's how much change can we accommodate?
But if she's saying though that she, you know, okay, I understand you don't want to get married yet, but I want to get engaged. What then does she have that's going to secure her in the knowledge that he's going to want to marry her down the road? Because if he's saying now, I don't want to get married yet, I'm not ready, and you're saying, okay, but I want to be engaged, you're really on a losing battle here, aren't you? Because you have no way of knowing whether he wants to marry you or not. And if he's saying no, then surely she should be asking herself, what is my core need? And whatever my core need is, she needs to go back and revisit that, because she might have strayed far from that core need that she had. So it can't be that it's got to be engagement or nothing, surely.
And it's that thing that girls do, isn't it? It's that thing of I'm just going to hold on real tight and find a way to stay connected no matter what. Because like you said, if he's not ready, when is he going to be ready? 20 years from now, and you're going to have a ring? And I think that is more embarrassing to me than to be engaged forever is embarrassing to me.
Like, and that's the thing, that it's almost like you're being held at ransom. It's like, if we're getting engaged, we're setting a date.
That's it. Engagement is part of the marriage thing. It's not. It's not a placeholder. I'll take a ring. Because I know guys, you know, I actually met a guy at a business meeting, and when he realized I was a relationship coach, he started to share, and I asked him about his current wife. And he said he had gotten into the habit, and I've shared this on this channel, one of the videos, he had gotten into the habit of any girlfriend that would start sort of getting nervous or, you know, twitchy about marriage, he'd just get a ring and give it to her. And he said he had no intention of getting married, and then that would sort of keep her going for about a year or two, and then if she started harping on about marriage, he would just break the engagement. Because you have to understand that an engagement is in many ways made to be broken. It's not supposed to, but it's actually
and
that
just like exclusivity,
season.
isn't it?
It's like intention. It's really about intention. So eventually his wife, I think they'd gone on holiday, she had the ring, they went on holiday, she said, oh, be nice to get married, let's find out how much it is. And before he knew it, he was walking up the aisle. he's like, she just went into this place and said, that would be a nice place to get married. She spoke to the people, deposits were paid, and before he knew it, he couldn't get out of this particular one. So she was a smart girl. But, you know, we have to understand that, you know, if a man is not genuinely leading with commitment, if you have to pull his teeth out to even come near, you're only going to sign up for in a very unhappy relationship. That's what you were saying. It's, you know, you're going to end up in a situation where you feel like, you know, he feels like, and I've had guys say this to me. I've sat with men and they've said, I married her because it was too embarrassing not to after so many years.
Yeah.
I've heard that so much. Have you heard that?
No, I haven't, but I can just imagine.
Yeah.
Just imagine.
I've heard that so many times from men. I married her because she got pregnant.
Oh, that I've heard.
I married
definitely.
her.
Yes.
Yeah. I married her because it was too embarrassing after 5 years or 6 years of dating not to marry her. And the truth is, you don't want to be that girl.
Yeah.
Now, you know, some of them are saying that because they're trying to get into your knickers or, you know, trying to give you a sob story. But for the most part, I think these kind of strong arming men into marriage or negotiating an indoor, truth of the matter is he can just fall in love with somebody else. And you know, so for me, my advice to this one is like, if he's really not ready to get married, leave it. Free yourself. Cry your tears, get a tub of ice cream, do what you got to do, and then just go and get yourself somebody who's ready to get married, really.
Because also it's, you know, where we were talking about changing for that person, because he's now put a ring on it, and you know, he just says out of the blue, I like blonde hair, you happen to be a brunette. So what do? Do you go and dye your hair? Because you know what, you so want him to marry you. You know, it's been 18 months since, so you're morphing. Whatever he says he likes, you go and do it because you're hoping this will get me closer to the altar. It will get me closer to there. And then the next thing you know, you cannot be found anywhere in your look because you have so done everything he wants and still he's not put a ring on it, you know? So it's...
And I guess it just goes back to that whole thing of don't self-abandon. It's like, make sure, even with, say, if she was on a discovery call, would ask her, like, so you want to compromise for the engagement, how long then would you be engaged for?
Yes.
You have to define those things. And I think sometimes we go into these things thinking, yeah, of course, since engagement is going to marry me. And time goes.
Yes.
Time flies.
Yes,
Next thing you know, it's 3, 4, 5 years later.
Yeah.
And if you haven't stated, so as black swans, even if you are exclusive, exclusivity has to have a cutoff point.
Yes.
You also have to know, okay, I know my body weight, I know my hair color, I know, you know, I'm not going to bleach my hair so that I can be blonde for him because this is what he likes, or I'm not going to start wearing braids because he doesn't like me wearing certain hair, or I'm not, it's me just experimenting with my looks and this is what I like. And it's still also, there's still also the part of, yes, when you're in a relationship, you do have to change for someone. So how much change? And we spoke about this earlier.
And that's what we were discussing, because I genuinely believe that insisting on being exactly the way you are when you bring and invite another human being into your life is probably a recipe for disaster. I think there's a place where we hold on to authenticity in our reality, but at some point we have to compromise and we have to grow and expand. So I was going to ask Coach Yvonne, because she gave me an example of where is it, what kind of things would you think, you know what, I could change that for him, and what are the things that you think that's self-abandonment. So it's almost like compromise and self-abandonment. There's kind of you know, what's that, what is the compromise for you and the self-abandoning for you, and then we'll ask Coach Unique.
Okay, I'm very organized. Everything must be in its place, and there must be a place for everything. So if somebody was to come into my life and they were untidy, I would find that very difficult to cope with, because it's almost to the point where I'm OCD. Everything must have a place, and my lines must be straight, and everything must be as it is. So there is no way that I'm going to, you know, if you are with someone and, you know, they stay over and they take their clothes off and fling it down in the corner and just do, I would be going behind like mother, picking because I just couldn't cope with it. And so that's something that I know beyond a shadow of a doubt I'm not going to change and be untidy, because it would really be throwing my hand up in the air. We're now married, he still hasn't changed. So then what I would have to do and say is, you know what, if you can't beat them, join them. And this is one that I genuinely, I don't care how much I love you, I don't know if I could cope with that, because I would be being so untrue to me, I couldn't cope. I just couldn't function. I would go into depression because if I can't stop until it's all tidy, and I would just I'd go mad. So I couldn't do that. And you know what I would be prepared to accept, I suppose, or change for. Let's say, for instance, that I don't like red, don't think red suits me. But red is his favorite color, and every time I wear something red, oh, you look so fabulous, you look so gorgeous, you look, you know, then what I would be prepared. I personally don't like it. I personally don't think that red suits me, but he says it, and not only does he say it, other people have said, oh, red really suits you, and blah, blah, blah. Then I could say, you know what? Let me bring a few more pieces of red into my wardrobe. It is not going to affect me mentally and send me into depression. You never know, over a period of time, I may get to like it. It is not going to challenge who I am as a person by wearing a color, but to ask me to change how I am in my home, that would destroy me.
Yeah.
I definitely hear that. And I was trying to think of what would really disturb. And I guess because now I'm more of in a journey of really discovering purpose. So for me, it would be that if me being with you disturbs my purpose, if me being with you disturbs my peace and the direction in which God would have me go, that for me would really be a problem.
Yes.
And you could be the richest, most gorgeous, buys me flowers every time, opens every door. But if I'm sat here and I'm in line, I'm in purpose, and I'm getting my discovery calls and doing my coaching calls and having these amazing transformations, which we are, by the way.
Yes.
There's some engagements coming. Just saying. So and that fulfills me because I'm knowing that I'm getting a result from these ladies. And if he starts to have a problem with that for me would be like, sorry, you have to go.
Yeah.
It wouldn't even be but that's only now because I'm discovering my purpose. I guess maybe before it would have been, I guess now, I think it's because now I know better.
Yeah.
So I expect him to do better, and I expect to do better. And I think that the other thing that you're saying about staying in one place, stagnancy.
Yes.
Stagnancy is because, and that whole thing of in the comfort zone, you get stagnant. Everything will start to get boring. If you're the same, like, every day we watch, I don't know, what soapy is there now? British soapy, what's EastEnders. So every Monday, Wednesday and Friday we're glued to the East Ender watching thing, and like you cannot break that rule. and I know couples are okay and content in that, but for me it's like I need a little bit of I need some challenge, I need some boom in my life. I need to always see progress in anything, even in our friendships. I need to, and again maybe that's why, because now I'm tailoring that into my core needs, because I need movement.
Yeah, but you know.
But what wouldn't you? Sorry. What would you be happy to change, for example?
Oh, what am I happy to change? Nothing.
Oh dear.
Well done, you.
No. Okay. I guess. Oh yeah, the one thing I remember when I first started, I always like, now go to bed at 9:30. I cannot. That will not happen at all. But I think I understand that people have different sleeping patterns.
Yeah.
So I'm okay now with spending later times or waking up a lot earlier or doing things, movie nights and so on, that kind of extend into 10, 11, 12. I'm okay with that. I guess even when it comes to my purpose, I would also be a little bit more, I'm willing to work around my partner.
Yeah.
As long as he's building his, I'm building mine, I'm willing to work around it. So I guess I wouldn't say change. It's more like I'm willing to work around, because I've never liked that word compromise. Ever. It's like, don't do that to me. So I don't know whether, maybe let me think on it.
Okay, you have a think, and I think
no. What I
wanted
to ask is, where you talked about losing your peace. That's how I feel if I was to have someone come in my life who was untidy, because that would certainly cause me to, it would be, there's no peace. I couldn't relax. And, you know, if in your home, you've got to be comfortable in your home. You've got to be able to relax in your home. And I would dread if I left him at home, I've gone to work, he's at home that day. I would turn the top of the road, and I can imagine anxiety setting in because I don't know what I'm going to meet at the door when I do the door open. And the worst thing anyone can do for me is if I leave it tidy and I do that and come and find it untidy. It's like, do you know when the red mist comes over and you think you've got to now start breathing, and I mean deliberately breathing, take your time, because your heart is, and you know, somebody hearing me is thinking to themselves, is she crazy? There are other things but you know, when something is just abhorrent to you, it disturbs your peace. And I heard a dear friend once say, do not disturb my peace, don't. And that would do it for me. So I hear you.
So nobody, I think for me, and I think what I'm hearing all of us say is that who you are, the essence of who you are, the fabric of who you are is not up for negotiation. And the fabric of who we are has outputs, it's got manifestations, it's got fruit. For you, you are an orderly, organized, this is who you are. This is part of your who. And the output is you need a thing that the way it plays out in the physical realm is that there's a place for everything, and everything must be in its place. So that's a who situation. And you're saying the same thing. I'm in pursuit of my purpose. Who I am is this person that does, you know, who serves the world and shows up for other people and brings transformation in other people's life. It's not just what I do, it comes from who I am. And I think, you know, the compromise for you is, you know, you will change your what, when, and your how, you know, but you're not going to change your who. You might even change your where, but, you know, you won't change your who. And I think it's that wisdom of knowing that this thing you're asking, this physical manifestation of my who that you're asking of me, I can't surrender that. But I can surrender some of the where, the how, and I think I'm very malleable personally in relationships. I'm very fluid, and I think that's where my feminine energy really shows up, because I'm quite happy to wrap myself around a man who is very clear about his destiny. But like the both of you, my who, I'm unwilling to compromise. So I would say something like, we were actually having that conversation a little bit earlier, where I was saying I'm the sort of person who's confrontational. Now everyone who knows me, all my friends, and everyone who knows me is I'm confrontational, but I use confrontational in terms very loosely, because I don't think I'm one of those people that's but I'm definitely somebody who's about addressing things quickly. I take no prisoners. I don't want to go home and think bad in my, you know, 48 hours is maximum that you will get from me. If you come for me, if you do anything that I think is funny, if I feel the vibe is funny, I am verbalizing. I just can't. And I think Coach Yvonne was saying, well, there's this particular situation we were dealing with, and she was like, could you not just give it more time? Can you not just let it marinate a little bit? And I was like, it's wise, because the advice Coach Yvonne was giving was wise, but it would be an abandonment of self. Like in this instance,
because that's not how you function.
It's not who I am. It's not who I am. My who is there must be peace. And peace is arrived at by bringing things into the light. Right? So if any relationship, if any man required me to not address things for there to be joy and happiness, I can't change that about myself. That's too much of a self-betrayal. But then there are also other things. Like I've always asked myself if a guy, because I'm flat-chested, and proudly so, I can't have it all, ladies. I can't have it all. You know, and I remember when I was pregnant, I was like a double D, and I was like, what are these things in my face? Right? So I knew I didn't enjoy having boobs because money for the bus, I was dropping everything. Clearly I was made flat-chested for a reason. You know, even though prior to being pregnant, I just wanted to have boobs. And yeah, sometimes there's some clothes that I have to have boobs on. Like, please God, you know, put some, you know,
something.
Exactly. And you know, I've asked myself the question: what if my future husband wanted me to get a boob job? Right, and that's kind of like, it hasn't quite hit my who yet. You know, it hasn't quite hit who I am, but it's definitely who I am. Being this flat-chested, confident girl has seeped into my nature. And for me, that's where the lines get a little bit blurry, right?
Yes.
It's like, do I get a super amazing holiday with it? Like, are we going to fly off to the Bahamas and I'll get it done and then we can spend 3 weeks on the yacht or something, you know, to make it worth my while? And of course, personally, I would like nice boobies for certain outfits. So is it really going to kill me? So I think we do have those moments, but I think my problem with never doing it, because I've had the option of doing it for many years, my fear was, when will it stop? Because once you start
changing something, again, like what we're saying with the whole Kim K thing, is like there must have been something that brought her to that point where she wanted to add, and then there's something that's brought her to a point where she now wants to take off. So it's like I'm always like, work with what you have. And at the moment, transparency, I have gained a lot more weight than I'd like. But I'm having to reset my mind, because I was saying to Chengi the other day, I mentioned it to Yvonne as well, like, you know what, I could just go to Turkey. And I just need like 6 weeks off.
Liposuction, baby!
And back just like that. But the thing with that is, would that then be my go-to every single time? It's like, at the moment, yes, I'd love to go to the gym, but with work and everything else, it means that maybe I can do only two times a week or 3 times a week. But let me at least work with that. So, and I'm not saying I'll never do it. I'm not even going to lie and say that. Listen, I've just recently moved, and I was very unfit. I could have done with some lipo, and then I'll go to the gym after. Right? So it's those things where I'm like, I guess really the main thing was what we're going to is body changes. Would you change that much? Say, if you were with someone that liked you, say, again, mostly online, they can't see the full you. And most of the time, they can just about guess, okay, she's got a bit of a bum, she's got a bit of you know. And then when they meet you, they like your personality, they like you as you are to start off with, and then you lose weight, and they're like, oh, but because we know men are very physically turned on. They're turned on by what they see. So would you then go and eat more to gain more weight? Would you then be more comfortable with, say, should you exceed that 2-3 stone, would you then do the surgery, or would you work out to even say, when we work out to the gym, who are you doing it for? Because some women will say, look, I want to keep my man, so I'm going to keep exercising. So is that something that's even a valid thing to be doing?
That's a good question. What do you think?
I was going to ask, because when you talk about the lipo thing, you're talking my language.
Okay.
You know.
We'll go and do it in secret.
I might join them.
Yeah, that works for me when you speak of that. But what I wanted to ask is, if I'm doing it for me, and it's not because I want to please him or them, or Chengi turns around one day and says, right, all my coaches must be a perfect size 8. If they're not, then they're all out.
No, fired.
You know, if that's the case, then I might have to have a word with her to say, you know, really? But I believe if it's for it's not a health reason that I want to do it, but I want to do it because I don't like what I'm seeing. Now, some people may say, okay, you may have, is it body dysmorphia?
Yeah.
And if that's the case and I've got body dysmorphia, then I'm going to find out when I do the lipo, I've lost the weight, and then I look at myself again and I still see myself as the size of a house. Then I know, actually, you're fine. You know, I say that in all jest, but truly, lipo is something that I've considered on many times, and I would do it, but I would be doing it for me. I'm not doing it for somebody. I would do it for me to make me feel better. I would do it for when I put a certain, you know, if I'm putting a skirt or dress or whatever it is I'm putting on, and when I see myself in that, and I see the flatter bottom, the thinner thigh, you know, the flatter stomach, then that's going to be joy to me. It's going to bring joy to my soul, and it's going back to that peace again, because I'm not going to look at myself and God, just look at me, you know. But what I'm going to see is I'm going to see something that I enjoy looking at, and then I won't feel so bad. And every time I put something on, I've got to wear a tent, because, you know, it would change my dress style of clothes and what have you. So it would be for me, not for if he said to me, you know what, well, you're too fat, so you better do something about it or else I'm gone. Then we're going to have problems. Then my thing would say, well,
you can go.
See you later. You know,
that's the thing, though. There are a lot of women out here who just don't have that mind to say, oh, well, you can go. They are literally in there and are now looking for ways. How do I do more Pilates? Do I do more this? Do I swim more?
I mean, we come back to the same conversation.
Yeah.
I personally don't think there's anything wrong with needing to maintain a certain body for your partner and doing certain things for them. You know, for instance, I'm not one to cook all the time, but I'll give it a go at least 3 times a week if it makes him happy. Okay. You know, I think there's a healthy place where we can do things for our partners. And I feel that we should, for the same situation as, I'm sure if you were dating a guy and he had a bit of a tummy and a bit of a beer belly, and you said to me, you know, I really you know, and you were like, you know, I'm not really keen on beer bellies, and you were really honest about it, and he decided, you know what, that can be fixed, I'm off to the gym. You would, I think that's a healthy thing if it's if the relationship is fulfilling to him and you're the black swan that you are. We wouldn't even think anything of it if a man did that. I actually had a client who she was a full-figured young lady, and she was dating, and she met this incredible guy, and she's actually getting married soon. And she met this really incredible guy, and he said to her, look, I mean, he tick every box, and he said to her, look, you're one hell of a special woman. I just feel like I was meant to find you. I mean, he told her from the beginning, he was like, oh, you know, and you are supposed to find you, but to be honest, I don't date plus size girls. I can't do it. But he's like, you're special, you're beautiful, you're everything, but I can't. And so she decided that he was as far as she was concerned, and to be honest, I know them obviously because they're a couple of mine. She decided that she wanted to make it work. He's an amazing man. There's nothing he won't do for her. He didn't leave her or anything. So she went on a diet, started losing some weight, wasn't losing it fast enough because she's quite a big girl. And so she flew off to Turkey and got her stomach stapled. Now she's a perfect size 10. She looks and feels healthier. But he stayed with her throughout the whole weight loss journey. It wasn't overnight. I think it must have been like a good 6 months to a year of her losing a lot of that weight. And he proposed while she was still big. Right? He didn't say, well, when you are a size 10. He proposed to her quite quickly, actually, probably like 2 months in while she was still a big girl. So it was never on the basis of if you don't lose weight, we can't be together. But he just made his desires known. And look, he has spoiled her rotten, you know. So one may judge that, but for her, she felt that that was what she needed to do to keep the love that she'd been looking for. And I mean, like, the guy's a catch, you know, like a proper catch. And, you know, one of the things I had been speaking to her when we first had our first discovery call was like, we're going to have to work on the weight. Because she's got a very beautiful face, but the kind of man she was describing to me that she wanted, that was one of my things that we're gonna have to work on, really trimming down a little bit. And she'd been doing a lot of work naturally, but at this point she meets this guy. She can have her stomach stapled. I mean, she looks fantastic now. She's like gorgeous.
Actually, you know what? Now you've just reminded me of something about, especially with this series with R.C. Blakes, when you're talking about a classic man, and when they're looking for a woman, status matters to them. How they're going to show up with you matters to them. So as a high value masculine man, if I know that I'm going to have to be taking you to certain places, one, I want to protect you and make sure that no other woman is going to be looking at you funny. Look what she's doing here with her plus size self. Please don't take that as a dig, it's just a comment. He would then, because he knows in his back of his mind what his world expects and what the function of a woman that is in his life is expected to be, that is how he chooses. His emotions are not involved. It's always really about what is your function in his life. Not that that's all we come there for. He knows that he will gain other things. But when you're out here and you're walking with him in places, he knows what
the people are thinking,
what they'll expect.
And his eyes too, they like a certain look. And I feel like these two are winners. I mean, what they've gone on to build, they're having the most beautiful wedding soon. I can't wait. They're building homes all over the world. I mean, what these two have accomplished together is mind-blowing. But she felt that it was right for herself and for him to accelerate the pace and give him what he needed so that she could get what she needed. And I think,
I think that's the key though. Because she knew she was going to get what she needed. Because there's this whole thing where we can morph ourselves to be what these men want, but we haven't agreed a contract to say, okay, but I also want this from you.
Oh yes.
And then
isn't that, don't you feel that where we as women do ourselves a disservice? Because it's almost like we feel, oh, we're so glad because he's chosen me, I've got him, and we forget who we are. We forget that, hold on, I'm here too. It's the two of us, but we do everything to please, everything. Okay, I'll change. You want me tall? Okay, let me see what I can do. I can stretch
I can wear heels all the time.
Yes, you know, and so whatever the situation is that we feel that we have to change to accommodate them. Okay, but he's got a beer stomach and you don't like beer stomach. I've just learned to play with it, but you don't like it. But we don't say anything because we're just so glad.
I've learned to play with it.
Because I said that because there's
for the sake of YouTube, I'm not going to ask the question I want to ask.
It was somebody who a lady that I used to work with, and she was all, you know, well put together, lovely. He was younger than her, and it was just that she was just so glad to have him. A younger man, he was something like maybe about 8-10 years younger than she was, but he was quite big, beer stomach, everything. And she said, I've just learned to play with his beer stomach.
It's like that though. It's like, is there a point where even that statement is even acceptable? I've learned to live with it. It's like, isn't that what we do when we say before we do the work? Is we learn to just live. We learn, what's that word? We tolerate relationships.
Yes,
rather than learning to work in them.
Yes, it's the half a bread is better than nothing, and this is why I think that whilst that saying is true for a lot of things, in some things it is so not right, because you know what? When you are in it and unhappy, that half of bread that you've got is not going to wipe your tears away and hug you and say, oh, there, never mind. You know, you're in it on your own. So the decisions that we make to say that we're going to change and we're going to go outside of what it is that we want for ourselves, we do ourselves a disservice when we do that. Because at the end of the day, both of us need to be happy in this. Because if we're not, the home isn't going to be happy. The relationship is going to suffer.
Yeah. I had another client who, all the stories are coming back now. I had another client who was dating this guy, and I think, you know, the thing is, when it comes to weight loss surgeries and body fixing, we never really are afraid to do them, are we? But he wanted, they were dating for quite a long time, and he happened to like big boobs, and he was prepared to pay for it. So he literally paid for her to have I think lipo around the waist and get the boobs done. And every time they needed redoing, he would pay for them. He was quite happy to pay for them. So I could quite happily
I could do that.
somewhat consider.
I could consider,
He was. So I think, you know, obviously, like Coach Unique was saying, you know, these men, and, you know, to be honest, again, you know, I think she was up for that kind of party herself, because I feel like if it was me and a guy was like, look, I'll pay for you to get your tits done, I feel some kind of way.
Like, oh, what are you trying to say?
But don't you know what's that I hear? You know, I would feel some kind of way. But I think, you know, if you have that, do you want to pass my other phone?
Yeah.
If you have that relationship with, we're just trying to.
Yeah, my battery has decided it does not want to play along. It doesn't want to compromise with me.
So I think it's really okay. What I'm gonna say to conclude this very interesting episode, because we have other things that we need to do right after this. What I'm gonna say is, I think the key is making sure you get yours.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like a deal.
What is that?
You get your needs met. You get your needs
in just one area of our lives, or in every area. It's like mind, body, and spirit.
No,
and body as well.
you get any and all your needs met. So really, we're just going to see if there are any questions and comments. Is it this one?
Where are we? We were there.
I think if you go to my channel.
Okay. I'll let her do it.
Sorry. I think it's really about
there we go. Might have to reduce the volume. There we go. Okay.
Right. It's really about getting your needs met. I think
Nadine
as long as
get yours.
just get yours, girl.
Just Coach Nadine.
I think if there's a fair exchange, if the request, if the ask is an ask you feel comfortable to make as well, and an ask that serves you as well. Because look, going on a fitness health journey, even if it's lipo-induced, it's still healthy. It's still less fat in your body.
I'm going to use that.
I know.
Yes.
I'm gonna rewind.
It's just fast stuff. You know, obviously plastic surgery, you know, it's a bit of a cheat, but I do believe that there are times when we just need that help, where people are putting in the willpower, you are putting in the hard work, you are eating healthy, but you just need that extra bit of help. I think I don't, especially when it comes to weight loss or, you know, stuff like that. But, you know, there's this whole kind of growing, I know I said I was going to end this, but there's this whole growing BBL community.
Yeah.
And my problem with that is that you're morphing yourself surgically into the version of beauty for your generation or for the season. Because ultimately, I remember growing up, and if you had a bottom, you were fat. You know, I remember, you know, growing up in our season where it was like, is my bottom too big in this?
Yes.
To a point now where, please make my bottom big in this,
Yeah.
right? So like we've gone literally from one extreme to the other,
end,
which tells me that beauty and its definition is always going to evolve. And I feel like if you make those kind of permanent changes where you redistribute fat and now you've got a bottom that's big, then you're constantly going to be in the surgeon's chair. You know, I think a boob job for me is the women with, that's always fashionable. Like, as long as it's not, you know, up to there, but it's something that women have different sizes, so it's never going to be out of fashion or in fashion. You know, I think things like lipo, where you're reducing fat in certain parts of your body, well, that's always going to be in fashion. The curves are better when you don't have fat in certain places. But I think it's quite dangerous when we create this whole kind of surgery thing that is sort of emerging, where we are morphing our bodies, which is what Kim did, really, because when she was dating the black men, she was full. Now she's wants a slimmer, more Western European kind of look to her, because she's dating a man who is not black. So when you kind of, I think that's where it becomes problematic, when we're morphing for every man that we see. And when we're not getting our personal needs met, and we feel we cannot ask the man for the same thing. You know, if he's asking you to enlarge your boobs or lose some weight, do you feel comfortable enough to ask him for to pay your rent? Or, you know, I'm not saying that's what we should be asking for, but is it ludicrous for you to ask for certain things from him? Because if that's the case, then that's imbalance, you know. But I think ultimately there's no real right or wrong answer. I feel like you can only change yourself to the degree that you don't betray yourself to the who. When your who changes, when I have to become a different person to be with you, if I have to abandon my purpose, if I have to abandon my peace of mind, if I have to abandon my core human self, the way that I move on the earth, then I think that's where problems start to hit. And I think, like Coach Yvonne was saying, you're gonna know when your peace is troubled. You know, when somebody asks something of you and it rattles your peace. I think at that point maybe we need to stop and have, you know, and this can also be sexual.
That's where I was going, because we've had a few of this within the SWAN nation, where there were conversations about, you know, doing it in certain positions where some women are not comfortable. And there's a guy who kind of said it outright, like, look, if you're not into this, if you're not into, you know, we're not doing this.
It's a backdoor play.
If you don't want, you know, backstage entry, that's not what we're doing.
Backdoor entry.
And she was like, no, you need to pay tickets to go around the front door. We're not doing backstage. We don't do that. This theater is not open for that kind of stuff. So, and the thing is, sometimes we want to, I'm not saying I should have been up for this or not, but then because of the community that she's in, she might not feel like, okay, I can actually say, this is what I want. But it's one of those things that we shouldn't be morphing ourselves and changing. And there are women on here who want to wait till marriage, but because sometimes you find yourself in communities where people's like, after over 40, why are you waiting? Like over 50, why are you waiting? Over 60, why are you waiting? That's what you want to do. And you need to have and own your own convictions. If that's what you want to do that. And if a man comes along and is rattling that piece, then it's time for him to go. It's really all about that. And I think sometimes, especially with because I think we talked about it in the Secrets of a Man's Mind, most men do come with fetishes. And we're gonna get used to that.
It's so true what you say, because we have our own. So if we've got our own, then they've got theirs as well. So if we don't think that they're going to come with something, it could be that it's going to be the boobs, the bottom, the the tightening of the
bits
down there. And all the other things.
Oh, the southern regions.
Yes. The tight
passages.
Exactly. Because there are things that you're not gonna find many 45, 50, 60-year-old virgins out there.
No.
And because you're not, the person would have had children, they would have had other partners, so it may not be as close as you would want it. So if you want it to be changed, that's something that the woman has got to go through. If she doesn't, does that mean that the relationship then it then disappears, or what have you. And I do believe what we're all of us saying here is, it's okay if it is going to bring you peace and you want to do it, not because you're forced to do it, then go ahead and do so. If you feel that you're being forced, you've got dark hair and he's insistent that, all the women I've dated, I really love you and I love your look, everything about you. However, stop at that, however, and as our illustrious leader will say, keep it moving, because that, however, is not going to be favorable to you.
No.
Yeah.
It's not.
And what you don't address in the early stages, if you start getting into self-betrayal, and I love that we've covered sex. I love that we've even things like money.
Yeah.
I have given money to men that I really should have no business giving them, because at the time, the biggest thing that makes us change is fear of rejection.
Yes.
We're so afraid
Yes,
to lose him that we think,
and I guess that's where we have to check ourselves.
Yes.
Is that, why am I actually doing
Yeah.
this? Is it because I'm afraid
Yeah.
I'll lose him? Then
And
that is
it's
what we
usually
should
the
change.
case.
Yeah.
And I really believe that sometimes you will lose him. And I think there has to be that willingness to say, actually, because what I found is that once you budge in a sacred area, because I call it sacred, like some things that are to who I am, they become sacred to me. Once you budge, the demands never stop.
Yes.
Because they keep coming back.
Yeah.
And I think a man knows, and even us as women, we know when we're asking a man to do something that's against his values. And we know when he's breaking his own personal laws. It lets us know that we can constantly ask it of him and he'll do it. And I think once we allow ourselves to break the sacred trust we have with ourselves, and we surrender that piece, a man can see that she surrendered, and then it doesn't end. And every time I have in the past surrendered, there's always more. Betray yourself more, give me more, break that rule. There's just this
and I think it's not even just men, right? Like whenever we're talking about the reason for you setting your boundaries in the first place is just so, one, for your peace of mind, and to know, okay, this is my perimeter. This is how, if you want me to be sane in your presence, let's keep it right here. Let's not extend it, because how crazy girls end up being crazy, and how with these women who are bashing men's windows in end up like that is because their boundaries have been pushed so far out that they now feel like they need to resort to some kind of show and tell, like, look, you've gone too far. So it's that thing where we always have to check ourselves.
And that's that piece where your nervous system is wrecked. Because you have so put it's like your foot is on the brake and on the fuel, and you're pushing against yourself. And eventually your nervous system goes, hell no, and you have a breakdown. And that's when you start breaking. I've been in relationships where I've sworn like a sailor at the end of that relationship, like, I mean, effing and blinding.
You start to become out of character.
It's like, and I'm looking at myself from outside of myself, and I'm thinking,
who are you?
who are you? Honestly, like, literally watching myself at the atmosphere is blue, and generally I don't swear. But in this instance with this particular guy, I realized that is when I actually drew the line on anybody messing with my peace. Because I thought I'd let him stomp all over my good nature. I'd let him take advantage of so much over, I mean, this guy, went well in there. Like, I just, all borders out, right? Because I was like, I love him. He's amazing. I
was this
compromise.
Okay, you talk about the air being blue all around you. Was the air being blue because of things that he had done, or was this because of the way he spoke, so you were copying it?
I think what had happened is the relationship had come to the end.
Right.
It was clear that it was the end. I was clear that it was the end, but the resentment had been building up over time.
Right.
Every time I didn't address, every time I surrendered, every time I gave, there was all of this resentment festering in my belly. So this was the final straw, and he was clearly unrepentant because why am I
You've
making a
been
fuss
doing-
when
you've
you've
been
been
doing it all
doing this all
along?
along?
Yes.
So
And isn't that the thing though? Like most of the time, whenever these women leave, or whenever we, I'm not saying these women because we are part of them, when we leave relationships and the guy's not even remorseful because he doesn't even know what he's done wrong because we have been accepting this for so long. And we're like, oh, he's not narcissistic. But really, we have been giving him exactly what he was asking for. And it's only over time our resentment have grown. So from the very first time when he crossed and pushed that boundary. So say again, in the case of the back door stage, the stage door back thing. Yeah, so if she had not addressed it from the very beginning, they would have got into a relationship. And then he would have said, and the thing is, she would have said, and he did say, look, if you don't want to do it, that's fine. I'm just letting you know that this is what I require in this relationship. And then if we go in with that mindset, oh yeah, I'm sure he's gonna change. But he's dated it. And then what's gonna happen is that you're gonna compromise. Say, well, I did say. Well, I did. You know,
he did say, and I did go along with that.
And you're like, oh, maybe we'll try one time. And because you've opened that door, now you're like, okay, well, so she's accepting of it. And then you will get that in. So again, even going into so one relationship I do remember actually, not mine, a friend of mine, a guy friend of mine. He courted this amazing woman. We're getting married. I'm gonna get married, and he explained to her that, look, I love sex. Oh God, I love sexuals. I keep forgetting. I'm so sorry. Because the thing, you know, we speak so candidly here. So sometimes I forget that we're on YouTube. So we need to. He likes theatre entries. Yes. He loves relations of that kind. So he loves going to the theatre, and he loves it with his one woman, but he wants to experience different. He wants to go to Moulin Rouge. He wants to go to a cappella. He wants to go to Motown. He likes to experience different things, even though it's just with one woman. And he was very specific. He wants her to be in police, and And he was very graphic about that. And she's like, yeah, of course I can do. A year into the marriage, the guy is like, Unique, why do women do this? Why do you women do this to us? I'm telling you this is what I like. You'll be like, yeah. And the guy is now having to go out on road, as it were, because he's not getting what he said. Look at, I'm not saying that, I'm not condoning his cheating, but I'm saying that he had specifically said, this is what I like, and if you can't handle it, it's okay. You know, let me move on. And he was very specific about that. And it's not, there's no, all it is, he was just saying, I like someone who wants me as much as I want them, and wants to not experiment, but for me that is important. And he made that very clear.
You know, I think we've been talking about you know, the changes that we're prepared to accept and for the other people, but it's something that you've just said, the thing that I believe we as women do, and we are so wrong about it. I can change him. It's okay. And no one can change anyone. And we make that mistake. It says, we think because he loves me. And so because I've said, yes, I want to experience all that you want to experience, knowing actually I'm a prude. But you're afraid to say it because you think he's not going to want me, and he's going to leave me for Jane.
And it's all for the sake of, I want to marry you.
And it's not only that, it's the status, because, you know, all my friends are married, or I'm the only one who's got a steady man and he wants to marry me. So whatever he says he wants, I'm going to say yes. Because, and when I get the ring on, then he loves me, he's already married to me, so he's not going to divorce me, is he? You know, because he married me. Yeah, he married you on the proviso that I got this, and this. And you signed that contract. You know, so it's such a mistake.
It's so important. It's so valuable. That's such an important point, because, you know, I think when men... Coach Nadine. And he certainly can't change anyone. And I you know, I think it's hard for us girls, let's be real. You know, I think I've got a post on Instagram where I was saying that, you know, we have to understand that biologically we're wired to not find men attractive as much. Like, we can be presented with 20 guys and not fancy any of them. A guy can be presented with 20 women and he will find at least 10 that he would shag. Like, that's the real. And the rest he would shag them. Yeah, he would shag all 20, but he would probably prefer... Shagging is sleeping with them, by the way. I need to stop using British lingo. But, you know, that he would sleep with all 20, but he'd prefer especially 10 of them, right? We would be like, no. Right? And that's because we have the biological responsibility of carrying the young, and we can't deny them. We can't say, no, it's not my baby.
No.
Yes.
Exactly.
Right? Because it's attached to our bodies, right? Whereas men can say, well, it's not my baby, right? Those who do, not all men do that. So we are therefore psychologically and biologically wired to be very, very selective. So, you know, when you've gone through a good lot of men and you finally find one your body says, yes, that is not easy to walk away from.
No, it's not.
It's not.
It's not.
And you will tell yourself, look, maybe I can do it. Maybe I'm sure this lady you were giving the example of, I'm sure she thought the chemistry is right. When we do marry, of course, what police outfit? I'll wear police outfit and nurse's outfit, and you know, and rabbit costume, and bit of Playboy bunny for you. You know, I'm sure she had every intention of, you know, being his fantasy, but the reality on the ground is just probably a prude. You know, and that's the who part. You know, the who part is prudish. You know, and I believe, you know, I don't know who I was having this conversation, maybe with you two. And I was sort of saying, look, I've had to accept that I'm vanilla with sprinkles. Was it yourself? And, you know, that is something that in my past, I felt I needed to change. I needed to not be vanilla with sprinkles. I needed to be and swirly and pistachio and soft cream and then rum and raisin topping and then cookie dough. And then, you know, I used to feel like I needed to be that person in relationships, but I really am just vanilla with sprinkles. And I like vanilla with sprinkles. So, you know, sometimes we're kind of being... We change in the wrong direction. We change in ways that we think we can change, but eventually becomes very difficult to maintain. But, you know, we have to definitely give ourselves... Cynthia says, oh my God, it's very hard to walk away. Totally.
And I think that's the other thing as well. And it's also from the other extreme where you've gone past that space where you're like, you know what, okay, I've done everything that he wants me to do. But then when you really start to analyze yourself, and you're like, I'm really not that girl. It's okay to change your mind as well, because you will always revert to type. Right? Your true nature will always show up eventually, even if you want to say, okay, I am the wild girl, blah blah blah. I will do all this. I'll bunny and I'll da da da.
I'll be a porn star
for you. I'll
be a personal porn star.
We will do everything and all the.
Just put a ring on it. And the performance will begin.
Exactly. And sometimes the performance might have even begun. Already, but then we always revert to self, which is why even when we say when you're vetting your man and when they're vetting you, because now we're doing men as well, isn't it? Oh, that came out so wrong. We are working with men, as in we're coaching men too. We have the capacity to coach men as well. So, and I was saying that in that same vein, like we always revert to type. We always go back to our true nature. We always go back to who we essentially are, which is why even doing the work, the coaching work, is about teaching you about yourself. It's not about trying to change you. Because there's this one saying, I think I remember saying, no one ever changes. We're all involved. We all really just become who we really are. And the safer the space is, the more you become who God intended you to be in the very, very beginning. So when he knew you, he formed you, you know, before you were formed in your mother's womb, he knew exactly who you were going to be. But then because of the world we grew up in, we are conditioned to like, okay, well, you have to show up because you're a woman, you're a black woman, you have to show up like this. This is how black women are packaged. This is how, you know, this is how you're supposed to show up. But then as time goes on, what we're doing now, this is reverting to self, isn't it? This purpose thing feels more real. And the same in relationships. And when we're vetting men, is remembering that literally you're just vetting, and all you're going to see is like the tip of the iceberg, and the rest is down here. Like all you see is just up here, and the rest is down here, and all he'll show you is just up here. So we have to negotiate into the relationships, understanding that whatever happens up here is going to be 100 times more down there. So if he says he wants you to be jumping about, honey, it means
Learn to jump.
learn to jump.
Learn to jump.
And if that's okay with you, if you're a jumper.
Yes. You know, and it's the relationship space is not easy, and I think a lot of us think to get a man is the hard piece, but
it's
keeping
not.
one
Keeping.
is harder.
Yeah, it really is.
It's
Really hard, because
really is.
that's where the changes are required.
Yeah.
You know, you can pretend in the dating phase if you're of that ilk. Black swans don't pretend, darlings. Very authentic. But even then, you can be quite, but in relationship, when you close that door, and I'm not talking about being married or living together, I'm talking about relationship, and that exclusivity almost closes the door to all your other options. That's when the stakes are high, and that's when the real changes.
And I think that's the real relationship.
That is the real thing.
That is the real relationship.
Yeah.
But you know, you say that that's the real relationship. It is. But you know, the real relationship is when you're married and you're living with that person. Because when you're doing exclusive, you may have your home. You're still going home. And you know what? I can cope with you when you're having a bad day. Oh, darling, you're tired. Let me leave you. I'm going to go home. When you're married, where are you going? You're home. And learning to cohabit. You know, in that space, you've got two people who are both imperfect and both think they're perfect. Both think they're right. Both want their own needs met. Both are selfish, but I'm right though. But you're right though. Everybody's right and nobody is right. And we've now got to get on as best as we can. And I'm of the opinion, rightly or wrongly, I'm sure I'll be corrected. If you survive the first year of marriage, you stand a very good chance of taking it through. And going further, because that first year adjustment and getting used to the other person, the first 3 weeks, it's wonderful. And then I was reading a book years ago, and in this book, this lady, she loved her husband. She loved him. When they first got married, he would take his clothes off and just throw them anywhere. And she would come in and pick up his socks and hold it to me and say, I so love it, his socks. And, you know, the underpants, she would pick it up. 2 weeks into doing that. So what, can't you pick up your own clothes? And then it caused an argument. And to the point where they were almost going to break up over it until everybody sat down, had a conversation about having their needs met. What did she expect? What did he expect? And they've been married some 30 odd years now.
I think I definitely support that as well. And you knowing what your core needs and what you can put up with happens in the exclusivity thing, isn't it? And this is where we're saying you need to make sure you put all your cards in there and say, this is me, this is what I expect from you. And walking into marriage, you need to kind of be open about that. And exclusivity tests that. Exclusivity tests, you will most probably go on holiday together, you will see glimpses. So I'm saying all you ever see is that, and then after marriage, you
see everything out, and you actually, it's such an eye-opener because you thought, but we never quarrelled. And for the last week, all you've done is nothing but quarrel. And you're wondering how. But we never quarrelled. You're right, you didn't. Because every time he did something to annoy you, you went home. Or he went home, wherever you were. You know, so you didn't see it.
We were talking about this, like how the lockdown as well did that to a lot of couples. There was a higher rise in divorces, separations, because violence, exactly, domestic violence. Like you now got to a space where you really saw each other outside work. People lost their jobs. People were now working from home in the same spaces. And then we're just so not. Can you imagine if you had been married for 20 years and you all went to woke up in the morning, you go to your 9 to 5, I go to my 9 to 5. now we're stuck
At
together.
home, yeah.
And it's
And,
like,
yeah.
I don't like how the way you talk on the phone.
Yes.
It's like, I had this, like every Wednesday I would be at home, and
Yeah.
now all of a sudden I have to share my workspace with you.
Yeah.
And things like that do pile up. So I think the beauty of exclusivity and the questions that we always say, ask these questions.
Yes.
Get to know yourself, get to know him. We train you to at least to not even to have even a 20% chance into the first year of your marriage.
Yeah.
This is why we do the work we do, so that you can be successful at the end of it.
Yes.
Because the exclusive stage is when you're asking all the questions. And for me personally, that's a recent lesson, is like, I have to ask myself, do I want to marry this person? Because it's always about, oh, when is he going to pop the ring?
Yeah.
And no one will ever ask you, do you want to marry him?
Yeah.
Like, do you think, are you ready for this? Especially as women, we're always, oh, when is he popping the ring?
Yeah.
And I've had to really go on that journey on my own and ask myself during the time of exclusivity. Look, why can I come out today? During the time of exclusivity, you have to constantly ask your questions. Is this the man, these little glimpses I'm seeing, is this the man that I want to spend the rest of my life with?
Yeah.
And it's at that stage you want to ask yourself, what am I prepared not to have, in it, because you're seeing these little signs. But we think to ourselves, but he chose me though. Of all the women in the world, he chose me. Yeah, and you chosen him. Exactly. But it's that scarcity mindset, isn't it?
Yeah.
There aren't enough men out there. So because there aren't enough, I've got this one, so I can make it work. In other words, what you're saying is, I can change him. And then 3 weeks into the marriage, you realise, I can't change him. I made a mistake.
And it reminds me of something you said earlier, Chengi, about how we were having the conversation, and you were like, you want to resolve things within 48 hours. I'm not going to wait. And that's the kind of thing I guess we kind of teach in Black Swan. It's like, resolve things, that learn to talk to men so that they listen. And if someone is ghosting you and someone is leaving you on frozen for a whole week, that is how the relationship is going to be when you're married. Yeah. So this is the stage in which you're correcting this, isn't it?
Yes, because whatever you set in those in the exclusivity section, that's what you're going to get. So if you don't iron out the kinks then, you can forget it, because you've set the principle, and that's the principle that you're going to take into the marriage.
Absolutely. Well, ladies, I tell you what, time is fast spent, and somebody's got to get back to London, because somebody's got a meeting in a few minutes.
I know.
And so does somebody have a husband waiting at home.
And we haven't even gone into the comments, you know that.
We haven't, and I have been watching it, and I don't think anyone's asked any questions, but were there some questions?
I think said, what if he doesn't want to get married, something. But there was some beautiful, I remember AC saying, I love how Yvonne sounds.
Oh.
Yes.
Yes.
Someone loves my braids. I'm learning to, you know what, I last had braids like this when I was 18, like,
hello, greetings from Alabama. And who else do we have here? We have Valerie Jones from Ohio. Yes. Hi, Black Swan subject matter experts. Love you.
I love your braids.
I love that.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I haven't had them since I was 18.
What if he doesn't want to get married? Then you got to keep on moving.
But there's also the caveat of, do you want to get married? If you don't want to get married, then you're a perfect match.
Well, you might not want to get married to him.
That's true.
Sometimes we want to get married, but not to him.
Oh, thank you, AC.
She makes it all up. She does. She's as common as the rest of us, she is.
Oh, never. See, she knows style and sophistication when she sees it.
She's got good taste, AC.
Ladies need to know their worth. Absolutely. And it seems like Miss Blue Girl has been deleted.
Just the comments.
Was she being naughty?
We didn't get to see that.
Hi, Queen Conscious ladies. Hi, Lois. Is that Lois? Lois Thomas.
Yes.
Hiya. Hi, girl. Who else do we have? Cynthia. Hello, everyone. Hi, Cynthia. Always nice to have you on the line. Dr. J says, wow. No, we can't change people, says Dr. J. And then she says, how come after a year I'm seeing a little emoji going, a year? I think when you said if you can make it through the first year, so she wanted to probably know why a year.
Because I guess you've explained it in that in a year we go through
you
just
go
naturally
through
you
all
go
the
through
changes.
all 4 seasons.
Yes,
and
all the
summer,
changes.
autumn, winter, spring.
Yeah.
And human beings were cyclical beings.
Yes.
You are always gonna revert back to pattern.
Yeah.
So it gives you enough time to really read someone. But you need to be consciously reading someone.
Very much so. And if you've got you in that year, not only do you have the cycles, you too are going through the various cycles of
you might
change.
not like him in winter.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's very true, because if you're that person and you want to go out, you want to go and explore new things, and you guys are out every weekend. But for him, winter means you stay in, you curl up on the sofa and you hibernate. But that's not what I signed up for. And that can be quite challenging for you if that's what, and you've got to survive it.
Yeah.
Hello, ladies. Hope you're well. This is Thelma Moyo. Hope you're well. I was just wondering if communication style is a deal breaker. I'm assuming that says we're both fiery and sometimes petty, so there's a lot of miscommunication. So how do I work with this? Thelma, I would go and enroll in the How to Talk to Men So They Listen masterclass.
Yep.
Because that's going to give you all of the tools. But I think also there's emotional mastery required here. When people say they're fiery, it often means they are out of control emotionally. So one of you has to get emotional mastery. So I would probably say the 2 classes are emotional mastery,
drug, isn't it?
And
always triggering each other.
Yes. Exactly. It becomes like this cycle. But one of you has to break the cycle. So here I'm sort of hearing communication, just needing better tools and skills for communicating. So that's how to talk to men, and emotional mastery here. And change also I would probably say feminine mastery as well.
Change of energy.
And the energy mastery class as well. So
almost
I would
you're always
definitely
matching each other's energy. And there's a way of matching as a feminine woman, but here it's more like masculine matching.
And there's always friction, isn't it, when the 2 masculine energy comes together.
Blue Girl Magic, is it Blue Girl? The Blue Girl is back.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Tech error.
We had some tech errors, so you were removed.
Just fixed it. Yeah.
Thank you. So you were a good girl. We love you. So
Thelma
says, it has. Yeah, it has. I'm trying to break the cycle as I'm tired, so I will definitely look into it. Please do. But also join BSN, Black Swan Nation, or just book a call. I mean, there's so many options. If there's a particular issue that you guys are that's triggering you, then it may have some trauma underlying, maybe because sometimes we attract people with similar trauma.
The trauma meeting trauma.
So you might want to talk it through, and that's just about going to the website and booking a call. But if it's something that you feel like is just down to communication, then I would download those courses. But all the tools you need will be in the Black Swan Relationship Academy. Coach Nadine says maybe feminine mastery. So I definitely think feminine mastery, energy mastery, how to talk to men so they listen, and emotional mastery. I think are great courses.
Definitely.
And also Secrets of a Man's Mind, because there might be some things that are in there.
It's just understanding the way a man's mind works, especially if you're saying that your conversations are fiery. He's just matching. And I've always stuck to this one thing, how Chengi says, you are the temperature and the man is the thermostat. If you're setting that fiery atmosphere, he's always going to rise to match it. And that's just him being a man. He's always going to rise to match it. So I really think it's really about Secrets of a Man's Mind would be really good.
That might be quite good as well.
And after she's done all that and still needs help, then it could be a case of where you book a talk it through with one of the coaches, because sometimes when you're doing a course and you're getting a lot of information, there are things in there that you hear and you say, okay, then so what's the practicality of that? How do I put it together? And you would want somebody to help you to put it together. This is where the talk it through then comes in, and then we can talk it through with her. So do that, and then.
So basically, I'll just to also add, just in case no one knows what a talk it through is, it's a package that we offer. It's actually going to be coming out with the secrets of a man's mind. So you have the option, in most of our courses, you will have the option to talk it through with the coach. So we say talk it through as in talk whatever you want to talk through with the coach. So say if you decide to do feminine mastery as of June, you will have the option to book a coach for 3 sessions and talk that particular thing through, so that it's not just you reading and getting information. You can then sit down with the coach one-to-one and talk, and literally, and there's certain questions that the coaches will ask you that you may not have thought of in just doing the course itself. So there's so much happening, especially in June. There's so much happening that we are trying to make the facilities more available to you. And what we want to do is really invite you into the community, and the first point of call is the Black Swan Nation.
And in the Black Swan Nation, it would also be a good advice for her to join SWAN, the All Access Pass in SWAN Nation, because you're doing group coaching there,
as well,
and
as
doing the group coaching there, where you will ask a question, and then you're not just getting answers from the coaches, but you're also getting practical advice from women who've gone through that, and what they did work for them, and so then that would also work for you. So the Academy's page is the best place to start. And then do join the All Access Pass, where you can then get the practical help in the group coaching.
Absolutely. So we have Cynthia says, Thelma, I can relate. Emotional mastery class was very helpful for me. Yay. And Thelma says, awesome, thank you very much. I'll look into the courses. Do. And Secrets, and Cynthia recommends Secrets of the Man's Mind as well. And I've got here Rudo Z. I have done it, lost the weight, put the makeup, dress how he wanted me to dress, be feminine, never challenged him, and still he left. Never going to change for anybody again. Learn the hard way. Absolutely.
I hear that.
Absolutely. I mean, to be honest, when a man starts giving you a whole laundry list of things.
Yes.
Like literally just trying to, might as well just go and create an AI.
You might as well just go find an already made situation. Look, I never got this idea of a man saying, like, all these things you've done here, they're great for you. But if you were not that girl and you did it for him. But I've always found, look, there's a whole bunch of very slim, very beautiful women. There are a whole bunch of very curvaceous women like myself and Coach Unique. There are a whole bunch of very tall women, short women,
Lucky Vaughn.
petite women.
But I think it's the laziness though. They don't want to go and look.
I think they just
But
bypass.
you leave though. If you've done everything that you've asked for and you didn't want to go and look for it, why leave?
That's because it was about control. And that was about manipulation and control and power, ego stroking. But like men who are like, I don't date women who wear makeup. I'm like, so look, the whole world is full of non-makeup wearing women. Why didn't you go and talk to her? Why did you pass all of them
and it's so funny.
to come and talk to the makeup married one?
Reminded me. So basically, when I was married, I remember this one time. So I've always done makeup, done my hair. I always used to have this blonde streak on my hair, like always. Didn't matter whether it was braids or anything. I'd always have a blonde streak. And I remember this one time towards our divorce, and I think we're at a wedding, and I took out my compact, and I was like, I just checking my lipstick because I'd just eaten, and he literally just smacked me on my knees like that, like, what you doing? Put that away. I was like, what? And in my head, I think that's where things are like, but then the comments started to come out, and I was like, but you met me like this. You met me like this. You met me as a makeup wearing person. You met me as a woman who loves her heels. You met me as I need to be put together. I don't care what size I am. I will always be put together. You met me like that. And you got engaged to me like that. And you got married me like that. But what is it, again, is that whole thing of control. Is they really feel, and when they start to lose control of you, it's the threats. Okay, I'm going to leave you. And I was not a black swan then, and then I'd morph and change and start wearing less makeup, and it just wasn't me anymore. And you morph yourself
And you
to
lose
try
your
and please them,
peace.
and you still left.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, ladies, look, I've got to love you and leave you. I think we've got somebody from Trinidad here. Love you, ladies. Listen all the time. Love you. We're gonna have to do a tour around the world. We're gonna have to come and say hi to all of you. But ladies, thank you so much for watching. This is always a pleasure. We always feel so good afterwards. And usually it's after a long day's work. And we're like, okay, let's go put some lipstick on because we all look crazy because we literally wake up early and we just come in with our laptops and we're sitting there talking and having meetings. Yeah. And then at the end of the day, we come on here and it's so refreshing and it's so great to spend time together. So thank you so much for watching. Tomorrow, I believe tonight, 2 a.m. in the United States,
like right early morning.
Says we do
RC.
trigger each other, and she's asking, can we do the course together? So that's a perfect
the men can absolutely. That's a really good question. And Dama's asking, can we do the course together? I absolutely think you should. If you want to really do some serious, really deep grounded work together, I would first book a discovery call with one of the coaches. So you can book one for him and for you because the men can book now. So that's really cool. If he really wants to work on himself, and then we would recommend the courses to do for the both of you, and then we could also recommend
amazing, wouldn't it?
That would be very
couples
good.
counselling and stuff like that. I've got a couples counselling
in the evening.
This evening, so I've really got to go because I've got two naughty children who need to be slapped on the wrist.
The preparation.
And Thelma is not going to be the naughty one.
You're not going to be the naughty
Thelma's
one.
not going to be naughty.
She's going to be
Thelma
the good
is very
girl.
good. Yeah.
But yes, I've got a couple tonight. But thank you so much for watching, and do check out my interview with the Bishop R.C. Blakes. You know we love him.
It's going to be tonight.
And it's going to be tonight on his channel. Or
tomorrow
morning on our end.
Tomorrow morning on our end.
Yeah.
So basically Tuesday morning, 2 a.m. if you're up.
And if they're in the USA, it's a bit later.
That's
a bit later tonight.
I think
anyway,
it's 7, isn't it?
I had a great time doing that video.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, let's go support that. I'll see you all soon. And from us, Coach.
Good night, everyone. Have a good evening.
Good night.
Bye.
We might just come back and talk a little bit more about the couples counselling.
Sorry about the thumb.
All right.